is the message from Professor Diescho, the Namibian academic and scholar. Prof. Diescho.
Rest in peace, comrade Shapoishuna.
I see. Goodbye. I will come back with independence. Ring the words that were spoken by Samuel, Shafishuna, Daniel, Nujoma. In a very uncertain moment, trying to cross the border between Southwest Africa and Bechuanaland. At the behest of the Overherero Chiefs Council, under very astute leadership of Ombara Hosea Kutako, who facilitated that an unknown person to Sam Nujoma at the time, Ludwig Stanley, would smuggle that Ekuru Nujoma out of Southwest Africa into Bechuanaland. Distinguished mourners, government representatives, friends, family, concerned Namibians, permit me to abide by the protocol so duly established. We are summoned this day by our collective grief, beckoned by a national agony of death. And we realize that the hand that holds the master key has once again turned that key clockwise and withdrew from amongst us a very illustrious son of the soil who had a big dream, who walked ahead of the nation that was not yet born, exemplified and epitomized courage at times when it was not easy to think ahead, plan ahead, and have the rectitude, fortitude to love and think for others. The providence of the hand of God has removed from amongst us Tatekuru Sam Nujoma, whom we are funeralizing today. In the providence of God, there are people who come to earth with rare gifts, with rare talents. And one of them, for our purposes in Namibia, is Tatekuru Shafishuna Nujoma. He walked ahead of a nation that was not yet born, held the torch which only meant that there was a future for this country. Not only did the torch illuminate the road ahead, it kept hope alive. It gave the future meaning, and it injected in us courage to think about tomorrow. I join the multitudes of people, both in Namibia and beyond our borders, who are not mourning the passing of Tatekulu Nujoma, but celebrating, as it were, saluting this illustrious son for what he meant for us in Namibia and the world. There comes a time when we pause, as we do today, not to cry, not to lament, not to mourn, but to celebrate the illustrious life of this extraordinary human being by which we were blessed by the fact that he lived amongst us, dwelt amongst us, taught amongst us, and to us who were children, inspired by him greatly day in and day out. In a moment like this, we pause to remember, if you permit me, the words of one of the most celebrated African-American writers by the name of Maya Angelou, who wrote, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So today, we remember how Tatekulu Nujoma made us feel when he struggled to enter portals of the world to represent us at the time when we did not have a name, at the time when our world was symbolized by hopelessness, restlessness, helplessness, and meaninglessness. When we did not have a name, Nujoma went ahead and knocked. My friends, you cannot quite appreciate how difficult it was for him to knock on doors in Algeria, Egypt, Indonesia, and people would come out, these great majesties, swimming in oil and wealth. "Where do you come from?" And he would say, "From Southwest Africa." I said, "What is that? Where is that?" And he would say in a very humble voice, "It's a small country next to South Africa." It was not easy. Yet he plowed ahead, moved ahead, marched ahead, represented us to the extent that if you speak about international law today, Namibia is a living case of international law. We can never forget how Nujoma made us feel. So I'm very, 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 very proud to be a Namibian, very grateful to live today, to witness the pouring of love and solidarity towards the Nujoma and the Kondombolo families. As you mourn, you are not alone. I can assure you the whole world feels the absence of Tatekulu Nujoma. A great deal has been said about this larger-than-life personage All I can and must do is amplify and punctuate the essence of Nujoma in our life. At times like this, we call to mind what we know about what Nujoma did in the world. At times like this, we call to mind not the mistakes and the errors and the shortcomings that he was accused of. At times like this, we call to mind not his weaknesses and yes, at times, his angry words of admonition by which he taught us to love ourselves more and more deeply. At times like this, we call to mind what it means to be a Namibian. At times like this, we call to mind that which he stood for, that can make us all feel comfortable. You will remember, not only did he mobilize and mortgage international solidarity to know who we are, small as we are, but glorious, powerful. We have moral power. Nujoma carried our name. Nujoma was our face. At times like this, we hear his voice telling us, there is no issue stronger than the tissue of love, no cause more holy than a palm outstretched in the run of generosity. We hear him say, I am not in heaven, I am here, hear me. I am in you, feel me. I am of you, need me. I'm with you, be with me. Only through kindness will you please me. This Nujoma has given Namibia a language that teaches us that at times like this, we need to turn to one another and love ourselves, because that is what Nujoma taught us. You will recall he would say, when a people are united, striving for one purpose, they can only emerge victorious. At times like this, we punctuate, amplify, put the volume up on that which makes us better human beings. We may be a small nation. You see, my friends, I met Tatekulu Nujoma 40 years ago in New York when I was a graduate student at Columbia University. I was taken to him by my political teacher, Theo Ben Gurirap. May his soul rest in peace. And just after independence, I was an international journalist for an American national television. So I came to interview Tatekulu Nujoma. And I interviewed him several times in New York. And when I went to the University of South Africa, UNISA in Pretoria, I, together with our High Commissioner, Shapwa Kaukungwa, orchestrated a visitation by President Nujoma to UNISA in Pretoria. And Nujoma was the first head of state of a liberated African country to address the university community in Pretoria. After that, we subsequently met at different occasions where he was the teacher, the father, and I, the student of politics. Ladies and gentlemen, we have so much to be grateful for, thanks to people like Nujoma and his peers. We have so much to be proud of, thanks to those who worked with him. I cannot fail to mention the 72 founding fathers and mothers who drafted and crafted for us a constitution which is second to none in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a future beckoning. If you look at Tatekul Nujoma now, he's looking down on us with his signature smile, asking us, what are you going to do to make this country, this Africa, this world better? Again, how do we make one another feel? At times like this, when we have the privilege, when we have the liberty, when we have the freedom, when we have the space, and we have the infrastructure, we have the wherewithal, we have the love, we have the gifts, we have the capacity, and yes, the soil on which to meet. By that I mean, brothers and sisters, try to imagine how it feels to be in Gaza, in Palestine. This is what Nujoma worried about. He would say to us as students, while we celebrate our joy and happiness here, we remember those in Palestine. Nujoma would say, we are a gift of international solidarity. My friends, I do not know about you, but I'm not going to study war no more.